tomorrow we're going to unleash you. And it's like, Randy Moss is like, you've been telling me that all season. You kind of put me back in the cage after the Packers game. And he's like, well, we're unleashing you tomorrow.
Welcome to Skol Chat. We are a group created by four guys for the love of the game, specifically for our favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings. We are four fans who get together to discuss all aspects of the team. We have room to add a couple of you at a time during our airings and would like you to join us in our chat. Although the game may only last a season, the desire for the game and the team is year-long. Please hit the subscribe button, follow us on YouTube, and give us either a thumbs up or a thumbs down, depending on your experience, and leave us a comment. If you'd like to join us during the show, contact us at the email link provided below.
Welcome to Skol Chat 48. This week, we're going to take a deep dive into the Vikings roster. We'll look at some analysis from sources like ESPN and Sharp Football Focus. We'll begin, though. I have a Vikings story time about Randy Moss, Denny Green, and naked Taebo in a steam room. Before we get too far, though, if you like what you see or hear, like, subscribe, check out our shorts on Instagram, which I'm going to take that off because we don't do Instagram anymore. But we have full episodes, video and audio on Spotify. So you heard my little teaser about the Vikings story time. So this story is about Randy Moss. We'll do a little slideshow while I tell it. We'll see how this works. It was in 1998, so it's his rookie year. And So Denny Green kept telling him during his rookie season, "Oh, we're gonna unleash you. We're gonna unleash you." So he was telling him about that before the Packers game when they played in Lambeau, and he just went off and caught 2 touchdowns, but he had 6 receptions for 200 yards or something astronomical. But this situation or the scenario, it happened the Saturday before the championship game. So against the Falcons, and unfortunately they lost, but he couldn't sleep. Randy Moss couldn't sleep. So he goes to the Vikings facility. He's going to get some workout in, so he got a quick workout in, and then he was just going to go to the steam room or the sauna to relax. And he starts going into the steam room, and it's foggy. And he's like, oh, this is weird. Why is it already this foggy and it's dark in there? So he can't really see too much. It's dark and it's foggy. He's goes in the door, he shuts the door behind him, and all of a sudden he just hears this slapping sound. And he's like, what in the world? And he kind of walks a little closer and he hears something he feels something bump his arm, and he looks over and it's Denny Green, completely naked, and he's like, what in the world? Randy Moss what are you doing? And Denny Green's like, I'm getting my workout in. I'm doing some Taebo. You remember Billy Blanks and the Taebo? Yeah. So he's in the steam room, completely naked, doing a Taebo workout at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. And Randy Moss is kind of uncomfortable. I mean, it's a locker room, right? They walk around naked all the time in the locker room, professional athletes do. But he's just uncomfortable because it's Denny Green, his coach, naked, doing Taebo in the locker room. And Randy Moss oh, I didn't know anyone was in here. And he's like, and then Denny Green goes to him, you know what? Tomorrow, we're going to unleash you. And it's Randy Moss is you've been telling me that all season. You kind of put me back in the cage after the Packers game. And he's like, well, we're unleashing you tomorrow. So that's the Viking story time. Denny Green doing naked Taebo in a steam room. So before we get too far, before we start looking at the roster, just some plugs, I guess, for other sources. Marcus Sherrills was on the K-Fan. They posted a YouTube video on that. It's a pretty good interview. I don't know. He just seems like a really laid-back, kind of down-to-earth kind of guy. Of course, he's from Rochester, so there's that close tie there. And then KOC was on the Dan Patrick Show. They posted that today. Also, I think yesterday or the day before, the NFL posted their Vikings preview and predictions on the YouTube channel. And, with the Vikings, they kind of said they have the 16th easiest schedule in the league. And they went through the roster, kind of did a roster preview and talked about that. They kind of said they have a ceiling of 12 wins and then a floor of 7 wins. And then they also had contributors kind of do a prediction, where they're going to finish the season at. So I'm just going to read through the contributors, and then I'm going to read what they projected the win total to be. So Colleen Wolf said that we're going to finish 8-9. And our buddy Nick Shook, he's right in line with us. He says the Vikings are going to finish 13-4. Lance Zerline, who I thought was a Viking kind of guy, said the Vikings are going to finish 7-10.
Oh boy!
Grant Gordon Grant Gordon, 8-9. Dan Parr, 9-8. Brooke Cerissimo or Cerisimo, it's a weird name, 11-6, and then our buddy Bucky Brooks, 11-6. So averaging them out, 9.5 wins is what we're projected. Which
That last year was Shat quarterback.
yeah, I don't see the reasoning behind it. I'm not sure if they really are too knowledgeable about the Viking roster, about the NFC North roster. Because somebody asked me the other day, like, well, how do you think the Vikings are going to do? And I told them what I projected, and they're like, what? No way. And I'm like, well, have you looked at the other teams' rosters in the division? I mean, they're not way above the Vikings. Some are kind of falling off. The only one, the Bears seem to be kind of, developing, but it all depends on the quarterback and how well he can develop this season, if he's going to continue to progress or if he's going to take a step back. So
Yeah.
this is kind of the start to kind of give us a level set of what. Again, we know that a lot of the media jabronis don't think so highly of the Vikings.
Well, you did the ranking with, what was it, NFL?
Yeah, we did our predictions and we're just talking about that. So what we're going to do is we're just going to jump into it and we're going to look at the Vikings roster before we enter training camp. And we won't do any projections, and we'll just kind of look at it and just give our analysis of where we think we're kind of strong and where we're kind of weak.
All righty.
All right. So it might be tough for you to see. Can you see it there,
I can
Dad?
see a little bit, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll read through it though. Quarterback, obviously first team, second team, third team, fourth team. I got penciled in there just because that's just the consensus of what we're hearing about is Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going to be the starter. JJ backup. Carson Wentz will probably be on the team with Max Brosmer probably on the practice squad. Running back, first team Aaron Jones. Second team Jordan Mason. Third team Damon Claiborne, their draft pick this year. Xavier Scott. And then we got Kajan Owens, was an undrafted free agent. Then a wide receiver, and these wide receivers are just what I found on a few different sites, and they all had them broken down differently, but this is just the most reliable I could find. So Justin Jefferson, wide receiver 1, Jashawn Jones, Luke Lysong, Marcus Sanders Jr. And then wide receiver 2, we have Jordan Addison. Second team, Miles Price, Dante Fleming, Anthony Bliscoe, Dewan Jennings, wide receiver 3 starter, Dylan Bell, Trayvon Rudolph, Terrell Davis. Then tight ends, we got a full room, TJ Hawkinson, Josh Oliver, Ben Urosek, Gavin Bartholomew, Bryson Nesbitt, and Marshall Lang. The left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, Caleb Tiernan, Tristan Lee. Left guard, Donovan Jackson, Henry Bird, Vershawn Lee, Delby Lemieux. Center, Blake Brandel, Michael Jurgens, Gavin Gerhardt. Right guard, Will Fries, Joe Huber, Tomas Remock. Right tackle, Brian O'Neill, Ryan Vandermark, Walter Rouse, and then the fullback is Max Bredesen. So obviously we kind of talked about, the wide receivers, the tight ends maybe being the strength of the offense. The offensive line, though, there is a lot more depth than they had last year to begin last year. So that's kind of a positive that they didn't have last year. There wasn't the depth that we have this year. Any thoughts on the roster construction or depth chart right now?
Well, I don't have anything against the depth chart way it is right now, but bottom line is it's going to boil down to how many wide receivers, how many running backs, tight ends, how many are they going to have there? Are they going to tie, what's his name, the tight end fullback position as tight end, or what? Then how many linemen are they going to have? That's going to be the kicker there,
Yeah, I think, and again, I didn't really want to dig into like who they're going to cut, but I mean, I think 3 tight ends, if they're keeping the fullback, just 3 tight ends is all they're going to keep on the active roster.
Yeah.
And then try to practice squad, hopefully 1 or 2 of them. Yeah, the offensive line, I think they obviously got the 5 starters, right? Got Christian Darrisaw, Donovan Jackson, Blake Brandel, Will Fries, and Brian O'Neill. So you got your Ryan Vandermark. He's going to be your swing tackle for backup. Then you'll probably have Joe Huber and Michael Jurgens. So there's going to be, I think, 8, 9 on the roster.
They didn't have that many last year. They were, excuse me, and especially after the injury. So they didn't really have the Well, look at when Darisaw got hurt, they had to go out and trade for a tackle, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I think that's why they signed Ryan Vandemark as early as they did, just to, and that's why, he's played both left and right tackle. So in case there's issues with Darisaw and O'Neill. But again, from everything we're hearing, they should be healthy to start the season.
yeah,
And there's really not, I mean, the one thing I wish we kind of focused more on, maybe drafted somebody a little earlier. I mean, although I'm kind of excited to see what Damon Claiborne does with his speed, because he's a game breaker. He can take it the distance on one run, but he's not an every down back. He's not big enough. So, how we talked about earlier going into the draft, you fell in love with Jeremiah Love. I wish we maybe drafted somebody a little earlier because with Aaron Jones' age and his history, last year, missing the time he missed, that means Jordan Mason's going to carry the load, and there's not really anybody that's going to be productive besides the three there. I don't see Xavier Scott. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, but I mean, I don't see him being a bell cow back, carrying 15, 20 times a game and, getting over the century mark. So I don't know. That's the one thing where I was hoping we'd add more depth to it.
well, I don't know, with Scott, you know, he had some good runs last year, and other times when he didn't get anywhere with that, the blocking on the O line wasn't all that great,
Yeah.
especially on the left side. And then again, it wasn't 100%. So hopefully now this year that he'll be a whole lot better. But the way I see it, should be better.
Well, he's the only lineman that played all 17 games.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Aaron Jones averaged 4.2 yards on the season, and Jordan Mason had 4.8. So if
Yeah.
you look at the yard per carry, it wasn't terrible. They just didn't run enough, and we kind of talked about that. So hopefully with what's his name coming in, is it Frank Smith?
Yeah.
With him coming in and kind of chirping in O'Connell's ear, and with the offensive line, like I said, I think it's a quality offensive line. It's probably the best we've seen during KOC's time here, mainly just because of Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. But they're going to be more sturdy in the middle than they have been. Like remember when trying to blank on the
Bradbury.
name Bradbury, yeah, Garrett Bradbury. With him, just everything was just right up the middle, and there's just pressure in the quarterback's face almost immediately,
Yeah.
especially on passing downs.
Well, they even broke through him on running plays, how
Yeah.
many times did get tackled for loss, because line wouldn't hold up, and they came right where Bradbury was, so
Yeah, and I just hope that KOC kind of looked back at his play calling from last year and kind of did some self scouting because there was too many times it was just totally predictable what they were going to try and do. And then when he tried to not be predictable, that's when they try to pull something out that they're just try to be too cute, especially near the
yeah.
goal line.
Just run the ball when they're that close to the goal line.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had Jordan Mason, of course, they had CJ Ham. Yeah, I don't know. They just like I said, it was just inconsistent with what they were trying to do, especially at the goal line. Did we want to talk about any breakout candidates that might surprise us this year? Do you have any players in mind that you think might be productive or contribute at least, other than the known commodities?
I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of looking. I mean, I know he's been on the team, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how Blake Brandel has progressed over the year. Because he got kind of tossed into it last year, never did it before. I'm looking forward to seeing with the extra work that he's put in to see how he does.
Yeah, and we talked about that like leading up to the draft. They better draft a center at least,
Yep.
in the first 3 rounds, and they liked what they saw enough to still run with him again. And they
Yep.
didn't draft somebody till the 6th or 7th round, Gavin
Yep.
Gerhardt.
Way later than we were expecting it.
So, and again, not
I'm hoping he does. I mean, I'm really hoping that he works. It sounds like he put in the extra work for it.
but yeah, just like I said, having that bulk in the middle, 6'7", over 300 pounds, that should hopefully help. Hopefully it just doesn't get too high.
Yeah.
Lose the leverage, being too tall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We back to picking on our quarterback again.
Yeah.
Our possible quarterback doesn't have quite the height the other one did.
Yeah, maybe it'll help his stance because he'll have to be bent over most of the time so Kyler can look over him. Oh, you're not going to say anything? Okay.
Might have went and got a 5th grader to stand behind him.
Just a practice. He got his kid to stand out there because his kid's probably tall.
Yeah, probably.
He's probably taller than Kyler right now.
I don't know. I'm kind of curious how Hawkinson will do this year. And I guess everyone that's out there receiving, catching the ball, I guess, depending on the quarterback play,
Yep.
Yeah.
whoever the quarterback is. So,
Well,
but yeah,
based on what we talked about, like and kind of when I talked about like Damon Claiborne being like a game breaker, or being able to, I think, and that's the thing. If KOC runs the ball more, he's going to have a third running back mixed into with some of the plays. And if that's the case, they do run the ball more. I think Damon Claiborne might be a spark in some games. Catching a screen pass and taking it 50, 60 yards, or just a simple run. So
Mhm.
I think Damon Claiborne, or even we heard good things about Dylan Bell
Yep.
from Georgia. Just kind of reminds, this is what I hear, and this how multifaceted he is, or just being all over the field, playing in backfield, receiver, getting jet sweeps, that he kind of reminds me of Percy Harvin from back in the day. So I think he might, if he gets on the field. And that's the thing too, is like KOC doesn't like to play young guys either. And we talked about Zimmer not doing it, but these wide receivers, I mean, we drafted Ty Felt and he barely saw the field last year. So, but if that changes and Dylan Bellick knows the playbook, I think he might, make some splash plays too.
I guess
Which
the
one is
biggest
they've been using on practicing with returns and stuff too? I know there was a mention of one of the names of the newer guys that they had on returns, and they thought that he may.
Miles Price.
Well, no,
oh,
not. Price was
okay.
last year, and they're saying that he might edge out Price on that. I
Oh,
can't remember
really?
which one it was.
Yeah,
It
I guess
was
I'm
the
not
running
sure.
back.
Was it the
The
running back?
yeah, they were talking about
Claiborne?
the media. Yeah,
I think it
Claiborne.
was.
They were talking that he might be in the kickoff and
And then Price,
maybe possibly the punts.
yeah, Price had possibly returned the punts, and then Claiborne returned the kickoff.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had much exciting returns past few years.
Not since our best one. Well, Percy Harvin was very good when he didn't have his migraines and everything else. And then who else did we have at that time?
Punt return, Marcus Sherrill.
Yeah, Marcus Sherrills was a great punt returner. I'm
Yeah.
talking about our
That
kickoff return.
kickoff returner, Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, Patterson.
Yeah.
That man.
Yeah, he was electric, but then of course they changed the rules, so it's completely different now for kick returns. So, yeah. But yeah, no, punt returner, we haven't had a good one since Marcus Sherrills. And even before that, I mean, I mean, with Childress, they've just had a revolving door back there. Just a new guy. It seemed like every game was returning punts.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it makes a difference if you're making a fair catch, or if you're, actually catching the ball and at least getting a few yards. I mean, it's a game of inches, right? So that adds up throughout the course of a game. We'll jump into Mike Clay's roster rankings from ESPN and the Minnesota Vikings. And we kind of maybe touched on it a bit, but the Minnesota Vikings ranked, I believe, 22nd in the league in his ranking. And this is total roster, not just offense like we're talking about now. But the reason I bring that up is that he says the biggest strength, what I talked about when we were looking at the roster, is the pass catchers, the wide receivers, Justin Jefferson, Addison, Jawan Jennings, and then Hawkinson. So he said that's the strength of the team. The weakness, and I talked about it too, is the running backs, which again, though, your running backs and your wide receivers make up, half of the offense, over half the offense, or about half the offense. With an improved offensive line, is that 22nd roster in the league. I mean, do you agree with that?
No.
I mean, and we can kind of look and sometimes, like I said, we want to compare ourselves to the other teams in the division. Where do you think Chicago stands as far as, based on the Vikings ranking of 22?
Shit, he probably ranked the Bears higher than us or the Vikings.
Oh, yeah. The Bears are ranked higher. So the Bears were 17th on this list.
Wow.
And I don't know where Green Bay gets all the love, but they're 10th best roster. And get this, the last team in the division last year, and they might have had a decent draft, might have had a good offseason. Which we should probably do that, heading into the season before we start, preseason, maybe start a kind of a preview of each of the teams in the division, but they're ranked 6th. The Lions are. So, yeah. So again, like just based on the other teams in the division and based on the ranking, again, is there some confirmation biases where we like look for the articles or we look for like, oh, we agree with that because they say good things about the Vikings, or I don't think this is anywhere near reality
No.
that the Lions are 6, the Packers are 10, and the Bears are 17, and the Vikings are on 22nd. Yeah. So we'll move on just because, like, again, we kind of want to level set, see where we're at, see what other people talk about or say about us. So we're going to look at another source, and this is Sharp Football Analysis. And now this is the rankings, positional throughout the whole league, not just NFC North. But so we'll start with quarterbacks. I'm not sure if you want me to, maybe I'll share the screen here. All right. So I just clicked on quarterbacks. Where do you think the Vikings rank in quarterbacks?
I wouldn't imagine to guess with the way people judge things.
The
Yeah.
Vikings quarterback play, our quarterback ranking in the league, 21. So, oh dang, I guess I'll add it to the stage here. Yeah, so 21 in the league for quarterback play. I mean, could be understandable, right? You don't know how Kyler's going to do if he is the starter with JJ last year. Who knows? Wide receivers and tight end rankings, we're third. That's about right with JJ and then Hawkinson, starting tight end, I should say. If he has a bounce back year, hopefully if Kyler has thrown to the tight ends in the past. They have a good one in Arizona. So I mean, I think that's, again though, am I drinking the purple Kool-Aid? Do I have the purple sunglasses on? But I think that makes sense with the Vikings being third. Running backs, we are all the way at 28.
Well, I think they base a lot of that. I don't think do they actually blame the running backs? That's what it is because, like, everybody knows KOC didn't run the ball that much. And the reason why KOC quit running the ball or wouldn't run the ball is because of the O line. So it all intermish. And everybody's thinking that, well, because the last 2 seasons or whatever, the running game wasn't there. So, yeah, I think where the hell were we ranked? The Vikings ranked last season overall. I think it was something like, was it 28th or 22nd? Something like that. I don't, but
Yeah, I don't think 28th because I guess, again, we can go through the rosters and I don't think there's 28 starting running backs better than, or 27 starting running backs better than Aaron Jones. But again, you're looking at Aaron Jones, his age, his durability, and then of course they're looking at the whole backfield, right? So then Jordan Mason's included in that ranking too. And I guess depth compared to other teams, maybe it's not there. But again, don't really run because you have KOC, and don't run sometimes too because you don't have the line that's built around the running game. All right, so last slide here. So we have the Vikings offensive line ranking at number 12. So I mean, that's not too bad.
no, better
Top half
than
of, yeah. So of course, and I know that Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill move this up quite a bit. Without one or both of them, we're down last in the league probably, right? So better offensive line, you're going to have threats on the offense. Hopefully whoever's throwing the ball does well. And it's just going to open up. And that's what I think like Bill Walsh did. He passed to open up the run instead of running to open up the pass. So hopefully maybe that kind of works with, in KOC's favor where, he loves to pass, but maybe he'll start passing to open up the run. Any other thoughts on the rankings we've seen so far?
well, what you dug up and what I've heard off and on about the rankings, it is, let's face it, these people that do the ranking always rank the Vikings. That's just like the over and under, 8.5 wins, Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like I said, and we talked about it ad nauseum. Like with how they finished their record last year with no consistent quarterback play, their defense carrying them, they can only do better. There's no way they're going to finish at 9
Right.
wins. When they finish at 9 wins,
We
they're just
would have
completely.
to have a total disaster right at the beginning with multiple things.
Well, and with the Vikings offensive line to start last year, and then the quarterback injury, right? Was it
Yep.
the third game JJ gets hurt? And then
O lines just started dropping.
and like some of them weren't even healthy to begin the season.
No.
So
I mean, look at our center, how many concussions he ended up with.
yeah. So hopefully they stay somewhat healthy on the offensive line and there's consistency throughout the season. because it doesn't help when you're playing next to somebody that you don't know what they're going to do. If they're going to pass off a rusher to you, or if they're going to stay where they're supposed to be, or,
Yeah.
I can't imagine not knowing what the other, what the left hand not knowing what the right hand's going to do, kind of thing.
Right.
One last kind of glimpse at the roster. So there's this article from, what's it even called? I'm losing my place here. From Sayer Bettinger. I guess there's a website called Lombardi's Avenue, and he ranked the top 8 wide receivers in the NFC North. Number 1, of course, is Justin Jefferson. Can't argue that. Number 2, Amon-Ra St. Brown from the Lions. Number 3, Jamison Williams from the Lions. Number 4, Jordan Addison. Number 5, Jaden Reed for the Packers. Number 6, Christian Watson for the Packers. Number 7, Roma Dunze from the Bears. And number 8, Luther Burden from the Bears. I wonder if you expand that out, if number 9 would be Juwan Jennings. But my question is Jordan Addison number 3? Should he be ranked higher than this Jamison Williams?
Well, you're talking about Addison being number 4.
Yeah, should he, instead of being number 4, should he be number 3?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think so too. He makes some amazing catches when he's on it.
Yeah, so if you compare their stats, Jordan Addison's played in less games than this Jamison Williams, and he still has him beat in receptions, receiving yards, and he doesn't have him beat. Yards per reception is lower. Receiving touchdowns, Addison has more. Rush attempts, he has quite a bit less, but has a higher rush average or yards per carry. He has 17.2 compared to Jamison Williams with 6.8, and they both have 2 touchdowns.
Look who Addison has to compete with on the field with him. You know what I'm saying? That makes a big difference too. When you got one primary wide receiver, when we have 2 that are very capable, and Justin Jefferson obviously, is cut above. So Addison's not going to get as many throws to him as probably the other guy is, the Lions.
Yeah, and so it wasn't so much last year with Ben Johnson moving on to the Bears, right? But before, when he was the OC with the Lions, and I talked about it, a lot of these plays are manufactured plays. It just frustrates me to no end. I hate Ben Johnson's offenses. It's just like Sean McVay's. There's a bunch of movement, a bunch of shifting, and it's just like basically wide receiver screens. So I think a lot of his catches have been manufactured for him, where he's not doing too much. He's not running a route. It's all just like choreographed kind of dance where he runs 6 yards and gets a pass, and then just because they shifted so much and just because the defense is out of alignment that they gain 16 yards in the play when maybe should only have gained, like, if anything, 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. It's just the offenses. So yeah, in my opinion, Addison, I mean, if the quarterback plays consistent this next year, he'll kind of show that he should be number 3.
Yeah.
And that our offense, our roster is well above number 22 in the league. May not have the depth in some places that maybe some other teams do. And we'll kind of look at that when we look at our defense. Maybe there's some questions on depth, but some of the projections based on the roster aren't realistic based on past performance. Anything else?
We're getting closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, less than a month. They report to training camp. And what I'm going to do is
another couple weeks, isn't it?
I thought it was August 1st.
It could be. I don't know.
But I'll try to find it. And what I was trying to find this week was some training camp stories from back when they were down at Mankato. It's at Minnesota State University now, but it used to be Mankato State.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, sure, there's stories, but it's next to impossible to find, like, just searching for it just to find some good ones. So,
yeah.
But, I mean, naked Taebo in the steamer was pretty good. All right. Well, we'll join next week. We'll have a new episode next week, but we'll probably take a week off after that. And before we know it, it'll be training camp. With that, though, Skol Vikings.
Go Vikes.
Go Vikes.
Let's win the game.
Yeah.
Awkward eye contact. Oh, no, he's bringing a thumb.